Welcome to today's Seidokan Saturday. Next, in Pinyan Shodan, in our Bunkai sequence, we did this movement last week with a couple of variations. Now we do a 235 degree, 300, I don't know, however many degrees it is. 270, that's the degrees. There we go, I got it. 3/4 turn, basically, here. Now, that can be interpreted as having speared from here and grab the guy and turn and do into a throw. And there is the theory that the turns in all of our Pinyan Shodan are meant as throws. I don't see it that way every time. Again, they could be that, but probably aren't. The idea is I've done 4 moves in this direction. Now I have to turn around and go back so I can get back to where I started from. So in that sense, we're simply doing the blocks as we go here. Which, if I've gone down in this direction, my spear hand, now I turn one on a 90-degree angle, the next one on the 45, okay? Now, different instructors, again, are going to have different turns, and some people have intentionally changed it to turn farther or less, or both of them in the same direction, so forth. But I'm keeping to the old that Master Toma did, the way I learned it from Master Toma, Jody Paul, Sensei Tamai, the few times I've seen him do this. We go 90 degrees, and then 45 degrees. Now, we have in cat stance, we have both at 45. In Pinyan Nidan, we have both at 45. In Wansu, we have 45 and then shift to the other. So we have all sorts of different angulations. Trying to homogenize things is an issue. We don't want every time we do a certain punch to have it be the same thing. Sometimes a punch is a punch. Sometimes a punch is a reach out and grab the guy. Sometimes an elbow is an elbow. Sometimes an elbow is a joint lock. Sometimes a joint lock is a back fist. So I don't want to always do, oh, every time I have a knife hand block, I do exactly here, We're not going to do that, okay? Each one has its own individual character, and by allowing them to have their own individual characters, so the same thing applies, we get more interpretational opportunity. Same thing applies to angles in kata. So we block knife hand, then we do the same thing on the other side. Now, this could easily be seen as he punches from one side or stabs or kicks or whatever from with his right leg, then he stabs, punches, kicks, grabs from the left side or with his left leg or hand. But we're going to look at this a little bit differently. I'm going to see if I can cover both of these. So the simplest explanation is most likely true. But there are a lot of options, and I've pointed this out every time we talk about knife hand blocks. Again, I'll try to remember to link to the seminar I did. Knife hand blocks involve kakie, right? Here, oh, knife hand block. There we are. Boom, that's our position. From here, I can clear knife hand block. So my kakie leads me into some things. Knife hand can be close in fighting, striking here with the trap and strike. So the knife hand can be a lot of things. Another way that we can work from a guard position is I can work clearing the hand, go into my knife hand. If I clear this hand and he blocks, right, I cleared it, so you block with the other hand, right? So now I can just clear and pass again and go to the same thing. So I can go here, I can go inside. This is going to be a much simpler application than that. So Oizuki comes in. Hey, my first, let's assume he was coming from a 45. This is my 90 degree, which then puts him at the 45. All I'm doing is shifting that, kind of inverting the angle, starting at a 45, then coming in on my 90, okay? So my first move, a block is a block. We call it shuto. Sometimes it is. Hey, block. As I come in, I'm wrapping and striking. Now, as I wrap his arm and bring this other hand from my chest up to my ear to get ready, as I bring it up, I can strike into his shoulder. I can strike into his biceps. I can strike into his face as I prepare, and this gives us this version of the knife hand block as I trap and strike. Also important is to make sure that I'm dropping my stance. Okay, so as I strike, I'm coming down using marriage of gravity, using some body weight drop. Ideally, I'm going to hit along his carotid, along the same places as we talked about last week, along the sternocleidomastoid muscle, or I can drop into the clavicular notch, or I can go past and use my whole lead pipe against his jugular and carotid area in his neck. Okay? That's version 1. Now, we could easily say the next 2 blocks are just the left hand, and that works. But let's look at the other possibility. Right punch again. So I've gone one way, this is the opposite. Instead of coming on the inside of his arm, hey, I'm going to block to the outside. Doesn't really change much. I still step into my next stance. This hand wraps. Again, I could strike. Okay. Or hit. Then from here, I also have leverage. If he's in this position, I have leverage on his knee. If he's in the other position, if he's in the other stance, I don't. Okay? But I'm basically just coming across. And here, I'm definitely going to push my elbow back into his shoulder. I haven't released my shuto yet, haven't released the hounds. From here, after he's dropped, that's where I'm going to come in to his body. Okay? So, the first side, hey, inside the arm, step through, strike. While I'm stepping, he could be punching. Okay, so throw a second punch. Hey, here. Oh, well, that just happened. Now I just take this across his face, make my knife hand and a spear or a takedown this way. Okay? But for the sake of our simplistic practice, hey, block, wrap, hit. Additional strikes encouraged as you find them. Okay? Then the second version, outside the arm, hey, block, grab, come back into the arm, hitting downward, and I would drop my weight so that I drop his weight as well. And give it out to the other side. So the same 2, basic version required for my students to learn, and then these other add-ons come as you will. Hey, 1, 2, and again, if he's throwing that second punch and I'm quick to what I'm doing, hey, I may just get inside it before anything happens. If I'm fast enough on my feet and I'm thinking ahead. Okay? And I've wrapped and hit. Then the second version, hey, on the outside, come across and down, strike. And it's short strike, dropping weight. So when we have 2 knife hands in a row, going in essentially the same side, rather than think of them as 2 separate techniques, I'm connecting them as one is blocking. We could clear, trap, and hit, and then continue forward. If we did the, let me have you back up here just as I go this side. So if I do the clear and trap version, right, where we're kind of sparring here, and I go the trap and hit, now I want to do the second one. I still can come in here and smack him accidentally with my wrist bone. Okay? So we can put it into a more of a free fighting context as well, as long as we use the hand clearing the path or double blocking as we go. Those are our 2 next bunkai for Pinyan Shodan with additional features you can add. It's basically just block him, grab him, hit him, block him, grab him, hit him. The other little extra things are combatively useful, let's just say. They're what I like to call fortunate accidents. They're incidental in the as I move, rather than the end point of the movement, it's the movement as I'm getting ready that's being used in those instances. Again, thanks for joining. Like, share, subscribe, tell a joke, ask a question, invite a friend, do whatever you got to do. Enjoy, but most importantly, as always, until next week, keep practicing.